In a quiet town, there was a small school that looked just like any other school. Every morning, students arrived with heavy backpacks, sleepy eyes, and the same expectation. Another long day of classes. The teachers followed the same schedule every day. Lessons were written on the board. Students copied them into their notebooks, and the day ended exactly the same way it began. For most students, school was simply something they had to go through. But there was one boy who saw things differently. His name was Tariq. Tariq was not the loudest student in class. He was not even the best student in terms of grades. But Tariq had something rare. He had curiosity. While other students quickly copied their notes and waited for the bell to ring, Tariq spent most of his time asking questions. Why do we learn this? Where did this idea come from? What would happen if we did it another way? Sometimes the teachers smiled at his questions. Other times they became frustrated, because Tariq was not satisfied with memorizing answers. He wanted to understand the reason behind everything. One afternoon, during mathematics class, something interesting happened. The teacher walked into the room carrying a stack of papers. She placed them on her desk and looked at the students. "Today," she said, "you will all receive a special assignment." The class suddenly became quiet. Assignments usually meant one thing: homework. The teacher began handing out the papers. Each student received a sheet filled with 20 difficult math problems. The room immediately filled with groans and complaints. 20 questions meant hours of work. But Tariq didn't complain. Instead, he studied the paper carefully. The questions looked different. The numbers were different. But something felt strange. After looking at them closely, Tariq realized something important. Every problem followed the exact same pattern. It was like solving the same puzzle over and over again, just with different numbers. While the other students began solving the questions one by one, Tariq leaned back in his chair and started thinking. He whispered to himself, "What if there is a shortcut?" That evening, when Tariq arrived home, he opened his notebook and looked at the assignment again. Most students would start solving question number 1, then question number 2, then question number 3. But Tariq did something different. Instead of solving the questions, he searched for the rule behind them. He studied the pattern carefully. He wrote notes. He erased them. He tried again. Minutes passed. Then suddenly something clicked in his mind. Tariq smiled. "I see it now," he said quietly. Instead of solving 20 separate problems, Tariq created a single formula that could solve all of them instantly. He wrote the formula neatly on one page of his notebook. Then he closed the book and went to sleep. The next morning, the students returned to class. Many of them looked tired. Some had spent hours trying to finish the assignment. The teacher began walking around the classroom, checking each student's work. Page after page was filled with calculations. Finally, she reached Tariq's desk. She opened his notebook. Her eyebrows immediately narrowed. There was only one page of writing, one formula, nothing else. The teacher looked at him seriously. "Tariq," she said, "where are the answers to the questions?" Tariq calmly pointed to the formula. "They're all there," he replied. The classroom burst into laughter. Some students whispered to each other. Others shook their heads. They believed Tariq had simply avoided doing the work. But the teacher decided to test him. She turned to the board and pointed at one of the problems. "All right," she said. "If your formula works, solve this question right now." Tariq stood up. He looked at the numbers. Then he applied the formula. Within seconds, he gave the answer. The teacher checked it carefully. It was correct. The classroom suddenly became quiet. She pointed to another question. Tariq solved it again. Correct. Another one. Correct again. Now the entire class stared at him in disbelief. The teacher slowly closed the notebook. Then something unexpected happened. She smiled. "Tariq," she said, "you didn't just solve the assignment. You solved the system behind it." She turned to the rest of the class. Most people believe intelligence means working harder than everyone else. But true intelligence is sometimes about seeing what others cannot see. The room was silent. That, she continued, pointing to Tariq's notebook, is how innovation begins.